Hello NFL fans and welcome back to the Wall of NFL YouTube channel. In this video today I'm going to be predicting the NFC East division, including the Cowboys, the Giants, the Eagles and the football team. Last season the Washington football team managed to win the division with a record of 7-9, which is a really terrible record for a team winning their division, but their defense carried them and they managed to get there in the end. The Cowboys finished the season 6-10, and the Giants that finished 6-10 as well. The Cowboys, had Dak Prescott not been injured, may have done a lot better, but as Dak Prescott got injured in week 5 against the Giants, they had a terrible year. They had players who didn't want to play for Mike McCarthy anymore, their head coach, and they really had a torrid time of it all. After all of that, it meant that they did pretty badly, and despite going on and winning 3 games towards the end of the last season, they did really badly. The Giants, on the other hand, they had their quarterback for most of the season. However, the fumble issues and the interceptions and Saquon Barkley getting injured, unfortunately, they couldn't manage more than 6 wins either. The Eagles, they did start the year in a really promising position. They had Doug Peterson, their head coach, who previously helped them win the Super Bowl, and their quarterback, Carson Wentz, who was a franchise quarterback and was on a massive contract, and they both just self-destructed. And by the end of the season, Carson Wentz got traded to the Colts and Doug Peterson got fired. It's a bit of a crazy season for the Eagles overall, and really not what anyone was expecting. So now they're in a bit of a rebuild, and we'll see how they do this season. The Washington football team have a fantastic opportunity to get to the playoffs again this season. Last year, that defense really carried them, and headed up by Chase Young, they were really good, especially towards the end of the season. Whilst they have lost Ryan Kerrigan to the Eagles this offseason, they have also drafted Jamin Davis at linebacker, who will hopefully somehow make them even better this season. They've also got Ryan Fitzpatrick from free agency, who was previously at the Dolphins, and whilst he is a very volatile quarterback and can be prone to errors and off games here and there, that defense should really be able to make up for it, and he should be able to distribute the ball a little bit better than Alex Smith was and Dwayne Haskins was last year. The head coach, Ron Rivera, is a really fantastic head coach as well. The Carolina Panthers did kind of give up on him towards the end of his spell there, but last season he was really good, and he was able to rally the troops and end the year really well, as I said, getting to the playoffs. They didn't start the year very well, but they managed to seize the division as the other teams in it were just not wanting to win it at all, it seemed. Going into this next season, I think the football team will improve and they will get up to about 9 wins, potentially even 10, but I do think 10 wins is their ceiling, and they could win the division if the Cowboys aren't able to get as many wins as they're hoping. I think the key to the success of the Dallas Cowboys really hinges on Dak Prescott and his ability to stay healthy. He had a really bad injury last year in week 5 against the Giants, and since then they were in disarray. Mike McCarthy, the head coach, lost the locker room and none of the players wanted to play for him anymore. They were in complete disarray, and until they started winning a game here and there towards the end of the season. I don't think Mike McCarthy is going to have a job there for much longer, as I think his head coaching abilities have kind of dwindled since those later years at the Packers. If Dak Prescott now is able to do as well as he did for the first 4 games last season, averaging almost 400 yards per game, I do think they're in for a chance to do pretty well though. Despite that terrible defense, if Dak Prescott does do well, I think they could win about 10 games in this upcoming season, and they could win the division ahead of the football team. I do think though that the defense really will need to improve. If they rely on their new linebacker, Micah Parsons, a rookie, I don't think it will be very good at all, and they'll be just as bad. But if they can find some reliance elsewhere and let Micah Parsons develop, they could be better. Well, they can't be much worse than the worst defense in the league last season. I think the New York Giants has really improved this offseason. I think the additions of Kenny Galladay and Kadarius Toney via the draft, and Kyle Rudolph at tight end, and Saquon Barkley coming back off of an injury at running back, I think they have a really good opportunity to be a fantastic offense. I think it really depends on Daniel Jones, and this is going to be his make it or break it year. I said in my top 5 offenses going into the season video that I think the Giants could be a dark horse going into this 2021 season, but it really does depend on Daniel Jones and whether he is able to distribute the ball as well as anyone will be able to in that offense, let's face it. I think the defense last year was the 9th best defense in the league, so it doesn't really need too much improvement, and it really just is going to be based off of that offense and whether they're able to improve at all. That's why I think GM Dave Gettleman has really targeted their offense and really gotten those weapons for Daniel Jones to throw to. He just needs to now work on his interceptions and fumbles and try to limit those as much as possible. I think that the Giants will win about 7 to 8 games this season, and that's really because I don't think that Daniel Jones will be able to do as well this year as many believe he might be able to. I don't trust him, and I don't think he'll be able to get rid of those fumble and interception issues, and I think he is the guy that's holding that team back. Sorry, Giants fans. I know it's a bit cruel, but yeah, Daniel Jones, I don't think he's going to be able to do it. I think Joe Judge is still yet to prove it as whether he's going to be a great head coach as well. So yeah, I think 7 to 8 wins is really going to be their ceiling this season. And I think they're just a step behind the football team and the Dallas Cowboys. The Eagles have now completely rebooted their team this offseason. They now have Jalen Hurts starting at quarterback, who only started 4 games last season after they benched Carson Wentz, and now they have brand new head coach Nick Sirianni, who was the offensive coordinator for the Colts last season. They have an aging roster, and Nick Sirianni and his coaching staff have a lot of work to do in Philadelphia, and this might take over into 2022 and possibly into 2023 offseason as well to really rebuild that team as to where it should be and where they should be challenging for the division title. I think that the drafting of Devontae Smith this offseason is a good idea though, and I think he will really boost that offense and help Jalen Hurts to really develop at quarterback. He won the Heisman Trophy last year, the best trophy any college player can win, and he is really going to help them to do a lot better this season. They still have an aging roster though, and it is something that Nick Sirianni will have to deal with. I think that they'll only win about 6 games this season, and they will find it hard to compete in the division against the football team and the Cowboys and the Giants, and I do think that they will finish bottom of the division. So thank you guys so much for watching this video, and do check out the social media pages in the description and our website wallofnfl.com for other articles as well that could pique your interest.